you were out there one of the days?
I was out there both days, Marshall. Come on, man. I was out there Friday, Saturday, every press conference, every rookie that spoke, every player at rookie camp was there taking notes just so I could sit here and talk to you guys about what I saw.
My most important question is, did you ask any questions? And if so, what did you ask?
No, I'm still kind of new when I'm going into these press conferences. I don't want to go in there guns blazing asking questions. I'm going to sit there and listen. I will maybe at some point, but let me just take it slow. Like these rookies, ears open, mouth shut. Learn. Ask your questions. Well, I didn't.
Did you?
But yeah.
Did you have like a big takeaway from that experience? Like what you learned about these rookies, or maybe from Ben Johnson or Dennis Allen or Press Taylor?
Definitely. My big takeaway is exactly what they said. These are all guys with high football character. Listening to all them talk, and it's kind of coach speak, but it actually matters. In my experience, I think that raises the probability of success for a player when they do have high football character. Heard Dennis Allen talking about you let the football character bleed off the tape. Ben Johnson, the right kind of guys for our system. These guys were so humble. They were so well spoken, and they hustled in between drills at rookie camp. You could just tell they were so much more professional than you would expect a rookie to be in the NFL. These guys seem like they're not a typical first-year player. They know their role. They're going to come in. They're going to listen. They're going to work hard. Everybody echoed that. They have to earn everything. They know they're not guaranteed a job just because of where they're drafted. So the football character, that was real. That wasn't something that was coach speak, Ryan Poles just saying something. That is what I saw from every single one of these guys.
Clay, I also think what we heard in Dennis Allen talking about tape is something that we haven't heard the Bears front office give a lot of credit to when it comes to their drafting. There's been a lot of talk about your traits. There's been a lot of talk about what stood out at the combine. We know about relative athletic score and how that factors in. It was refreshing to hear him talk about tape the way he did.
Yeah, he said basically you got to reach a certain level of athletic ability, but then we just let the football personality bleed off the tape. And when you watch these guys, you go back and you watch their highlights, you watch their game film, that's what they did. And I think with Dylan Thieneman, obviously people get caught up with the 4.35 and everything. To me, what really stood out was his professionalism. I mean, this guy was first in line every drill, like as he should be. He was sprinting from drill to drill, as you want to see a rookie do. You saw the range, you saw the intelligence, you saw the smarts. Some undercut several routes. His lateral quickness was great. And just to get back to your Dennis Allen point, I think even a guy like Jordan Vandenberg, they're hitting bags. We didn't get to see any of the linemen out there, but this guy's taking full speed reps. Sometimes you see guys come in, you're running against bags. This doesn't matter. I could take a play off. I don't have to go. No, these guys are out there trying to get better. Malik Muhammad, you had him playing some slot. Obviously he's a very athletic guy, 29 starts at Texas, coming in to compete. He's like, yeah, I'm going to come in to compete. I'm competitive as heck is what he said, in other words. And he says, I'm an ultra competitor. So that's what you got from all these guys. Competitive guys that really want to be good at what they do. And I think every single one of those rookies I was extremely impressed with.
I look at the way that Dennis Allen described his culpability, if you will, on why they were unable to get to the quarterback last year. Was that a satisfactory explanation to you, talking about they've got to change it to how they coach them as opposed to depending on the talent itself?
There's something to that. I think it's tough, especially in the Dennis Allen type system, because Dennis Allen likes to carry a lot of stuff. I mean, you'd see him flip a different game plan from week to week, and that's not easy to do. Say you're going in as an offensive player, I'm a tight end. I'm saying, okay, this team's a quarters team. They might pop a cover two here, a little bit of man-to-man. Dennis Allen is a guy that really does switch from game plan opponent to game plan opponent. Sometimes you have offensive coaches who we're going to run our stuff. Obviously it's slightly different, but offensively and defensively, the Bears do carry a lot of different things in their system. I think being in the second year, you've already laid the foundation. Obviously you got some new pieces coming in, but you don't have to teach the whole team again. And I can't tell you how important that is as a former NFL player when you're going in for a new system. I had to learn a lot of new systems. I've gotten cut in the middle of the season and had to learn a system in a week, less than a week, and be on the field that next Sunday. When you come in year two in a system, you're so much better prepared because the foundation has been set. And now you can start tinkering with things. You can start switching up things. You know the motions, you know the formations, you know the checks. Now you're more focused on, instead of being focused on yourself, where I'm lining up, the timing of my motion, you're looking at the defense. Okay, what coverage are they in? Who's following me? What are the matchups we're looking for? It's really important. I think Dennis Allen does have a better opportunity to be better because he is in the second year and he doesn't have to teach as much of the system as now he can go back to fundamentals and getting better.
So, Clay, we talked about how we heard a lot of real candor from Dennis Allen when it came to him talking about, we need to coach better. And then he expanded on it from what Ben Johnson had said, saying that they didn't do enough coaching fundamentals as opposed to scheme. And then we pushed back on it at the top of our show because the secondary looked like there were fundamentals. The linebacking core, especially being as injured as they were, definitely showed fundamentals. I'm not quite sure why scheme and fundamentals, I don't think it explains what we saw breakdown-wise, both in the run defense and just the entire defensive line play last year.
And the fact that you didn't have a very young defensive line. You had Montez Sweat, Dio Dangbo. For me, like I said, Grady Jarrett, like you had a bunch of veteran guys up there, and say I'm with the Patriots back in 2016. They won the Super Bowl that year. I wasn't on the team when they won the Super Bowl, but I got cut. The next day, I signed with the Detroit Lions. Do you think I need to learn fundamentals like in the middle of the season? I just signed with this team. I was able to go out there and be successful and do my role because you're a veteran. If you're a rookie in that situation, maybe your fundamentals break down, but when you got guys like Grady Jarrett, Montez Sweat, you should already be at a level to where you've been playing in this league, you've taken your notes, you know what you have to do to be successful, that these fundamentals are ingrained in you. You know exactly what you got to do fundamentally to get to the quarterback. The thing that could be what Dennis Allen is talking about, exactly the way they want to coach things. Maybe he's got a different way to coach a stunt. Maybe he's got a different way to coach a blitz where the D lineman is supposed to arc or do something different, slant. Maybe he's doing something a little bit different, and that could be something that he could improve on because it is year two and these guys know the system.
Yeah, you're saying that, but at the same time, to your point, what you said about when you stepped in with the Detroit Lions after playing for the Patriots, these aren't guys who are even in their first, second, third year. These are guys who got paid a lot of money because of what allegedly they were already able to do. That's why Dio Dangbo got the check. That's why Grady Jarrett got the money. That's, you go up and down the roster. Like, it'd be different if like Austin Booker started the year on the field. He didn't. That's not a guy that we're talking about here. We're talking about veterans, as you just said. So that's why the pushback comes from us and why I'm highly skeptical that they can, quote unquote, coach their way out of all the deficiencies that they showed up front.
And I'll be honest, I've never looked at a team and gotten scared because, man, this is a well-coached defensive line. This team, this D-line's so fundamentals. When I'm with the Eagles and I'm going against DeMarcus Ware and Anthony Spencer every play, I'm going, that is a guy that is going to ruin me if I don't bring my A game. I'm going against J.J. Watt when I'm with the Jaguars. Okay, I'm not worried about how well coached he is. I'm worried about how good of a player he is, how athletic he is, how strong he is, how explosive he is, how good of a pass rush repertoire he has. I'm not focused on, oh man, that was a really well-coached slant they ran right there. That's not a thing. And with Dio, let's talk about Dio. I did some deeper research,
okay.
And I'm not talking about just his last 18 games. I'm not talking about the last 18 games he played. I went back to Indianapolis. In his last 18 games, how many sacks did Dio Dangbo have?
Not many.
One.
Oh,
the one with the Bears against the backup tackle of the Minnesota Vikings when their starting tackle's out. Last 18 healthy games, the guy had one sack. Now he tears his ACL. His Achilles. And I know you guys have been on the hunt, detective, trying to figure out which Achilles. I don't think it matters. If it's the same one, that's bad.
If
it's
you
the opposite
re-tear
one,
the same Achilles, come on.
You want two bad Achilles? Is that, for an edge rusher? That's tough. So to expect him to come back and even doing some math, I went online to the Journal of Science and Medicine and looking at the average time to return for an Achilles. Best case scenario, this guy's here for game one. He's not even going to be in training camp. And so now you're expecting this guy that didn't produce for his last 18 regular season games to come in and be a pass rusher? To me, that doesn't make sense. And then one more thing I got to ask you. How many snaps How many snaps of the football on the NFL field did Shamar Turner play last year before he tore his ACL?
It wasn't very many, again.
Just take a quick, just give me a guess.
Is it like 20?
70. He played 70 football plays. So for you to say that a guy played 70 snaps and you saw him trending in the right direction, 70, that's a game for some guys. That's one game. And most of those snaps were at defensive tackle. And now you're talking about playing this guy at edge. And this wasn't his first injury. He missed a lot of time in college. I went back and looked at his full injury history. The guy hasn't been in a lot of games. It was one of the things coming out in the draft. They didn't know if he could stay healthy. So Dio, 1 sack, last 18 games. Shamar Turner, 0. He plays 74 snaps. To count on these guys, Dio projection to say he could even be out there after the injury. Shamar Turner projection at best. He's played 74 NFL football snaps more than Marshall Harris.
You're not giving me a lot of confidence in what the Bears defensive line. So let me immediately pivot to this. They got to go out and get somebody else, right? As either a depth piece or a veteran piece, just to help with some of the snaps, just to help with the working in of those two guys that you just talked about. They need another guy. And there's veterans out there that can be had right now. Do the restructuring you need to do from a cap standpoint to get somebody in here, because people are going to get hurt, Clay. This happens every year.
Absolutely. And you look, and here's the thing. People think, oh, what's a veteran guy going to do? Let's look at the Seahawks last year. What was their leading sack getter? How many sacks? Take a guess.
I don't know.
7.
Seven.
With the Eagles last year when they won the Super Bowl, what was their leading sack getter?
8.
They had waves of guys that could get sacks.
Yeah, I was going to say they have several people in that
Several
number.
people. Okay, so if Austin Booker can, I think Austin Booker can be a 10-sack guy. I'm really high on Austin Booker. I always say I'm the head of his fan club. When I watch him on the field, guy's got a ton of pass rush moves. He's got a motor, an engine that runs hot. I think he has a breakout year. I think Sweat will be fine. You need something else there. You can't count on Turner and Odengbo after these injuries, after not producing, to be there. I think a Joey Bosa is a guy that could make some sense. I'm not saying to play him 40 snaps a game.
Right.
Give him 20. Hassan Reddick, Jadeveon Clowney. I've heard you guys talk about him before. You got Von Miller, Derek Barnett, Leonard Floyd. Bring him back to Chicago. Just something.
Cam Jordan was brought up appropriately to Dennis Allen, which I think made DA happy because that relationship has been wonderful. Let's listen to what Dennis Allen had to say about the possibility of Cam Jordan.
Dennis, one guy that you coached for a long time is Cam Jordan, who's available. What was your experience like coaching him, and is that someone you'd be interested in working with again?
Yeah, look, I think my experience with him was outstanding. I mean, Cam's going to be a freaking, Hall of Fame player, is a Hall of Fame player. And so I don't know that there's been a ton of discussion about that. I think we feel pretty good about, where we're at and what we have. And yet, you never know what opportunities might present themselves at some point down the road.
So it didn't sound like that was likely. And given the Bears' cap space, I would assume it's even less likely than that. But it sure sounds like they would work well together.
Oh yeah, I was with the Saints. I had a year with the Saints. Spent a lot of that in IR, but just going against Cam Jordan. I mean, obviously that was years ago. That was 2017 when I'm playing against him. But this guy is a true pro. Takes care of his body. Film junkie. I know you see him out on these TV shows, whatever, but he is a guy that loves football, can play the run, had 10 sacks last year. If you get Cam Jordan here with Dennis Allen familiarity, I think that would be great. I do think they need more depth there, even if it's a veteran guy that's giving you 3 sacks. You just need more depth. You need more bodies in camp, because Turner and Odengbo aren't going to be ready for camp. They're not going to be there, maybe towards the very end. So you need bodies, if anything else. And to sell a little hope here, we need that. Here's the hope that I think the reason the Bears pass rush could be better this year, because Dennis Allen will be able to get in his bag a little bit more. And right, you're playing against a team, and they'd have deficiencies on the back end. They're not going to try to send a lot of man blitzes against you. They're not going to try to send a lot of zero pass rush pressure or zero blitzes towards you, right? Because they're not confident that their guys in the back end can guard your receivers. Bring in a guy like Thieneman, Kobe Bryant, hopefully Kyler Gordon's healthy, Jalen Johnson's healthy. Now you can start moving things around because you trust the back end more. You can start sending more blitzes. You can start really expanding this blitz package. And we know Dennis Allen's really good at that with the double mug, A-gap stuff, the different looks he gives you. He can really confuse an offense. And those are tough looks, man. Like, those are the looks where you hear the mic point, and you're supposed to have the Sam. Next thing you know, I'm doing a kick slide, and I'm saying, I'm just going to take whoever shows up. Dennis Allen can cause that confusion now that he has a faster, more athletic, better man coverage defense. So I think he can really coach better because of that.
Is that how much of that is dependent on Dylan Thiemann being able to just step in and be the chess piece that we talk about with Kyler Gordon and, of course, with Kobe Bryant, guys who have shown the versatility already at the NFL level? How much of that depends on Thiemann being able to adapt quickly?
That's a piece of it, but I loved Kevin Byard. Kevin Byard was not a guy that could guard someone man-to-man. I'm sorry, he couldn't. Okay, that wasn't a strong suit. He was a good deep safety. Kobe Bryant, where did he play in college? Outside corner. He played slot corner in the NFL. He's a guy that can match up against a receiver, and you're comfortable with it. Dylan Thiemann was a rover at Oregon. He played the deep safety when he was at Purdue, but you did see him match up a lot. I saw his lateral quickness this week. I go, okay, that checks out. The speed shows up on tape. The change of direction shows up on tape. That's all great. Then you get Kyler Gordon back. This guy missed how many games last year? I think 14. So if he can stay healthy for a season, I know it's a big if. Hope in one hand and do what in the other. I know what I'm saying here. But if he can stay healthy, he's a really good nickel corner. So I think you have the opportunity. Jalen Johnson missed 10 games last year. If these guys are back, Thiemann's just a piece of that. If you got all these guys healthy, that will help your defense so much because now you can sell out a little bit because you trust that these guys aren't going to get immediately if the blitz doesn't get there right away. These are guys that can cover for more than a second. They're not going to run away from Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, Christian Watson in the Packers game, Kevin Byard trying to guard a receiver. It's not going to work. These new defensive backs, even let's go linebacker. Devin Bush, one of the best coverage linebackers in the NFL. Tremaine Edmonds was not. So even having a guy like that can match up on a tight end, even a slot receiver for a couple seconds is big for the Bears.
So you have seen Press Taylor over the years. How has he evolved Clay into this offensive coordinator position?
Hard worker, man. He was a quality control guy back in the Eagles when I was there. And he's one of those quality control guys, like showing you the cards, showing the cards of the scout team. They're showing the plays that are going on right now to the guys that are sitting on the sidelines. All right, this is the play call, making sure you know what you got. And just a guy that's a hard worker. I'd go down to Jacksonville and watch practice and get on field as a former player out there. Press was always really cool. Hey, Clay, like, how you doing, man? Like, he's just a guy that grew up in ball. Obviously, everybody knows about his brother, Zach, and really smart guy. I think he's going to fit in perfectly with Ben because they have that same mindset. He talks about his players wanting to be ultra competitive, passionate, want them to be workers. That's what Press Taylor is. Obviously, he's not the guy that's cooking the meal, but he's setting the table. And that matters too when you're setting the table in the meetings. And that's something that's important. He's a guy that's done it before, was an offensive coordinator in Jacksonville with Doug Peterson. So he's called plays. He has a long list of places he's been, whether it's Andy Reid, whether it's Chip Kelly, whether it's Doug Peterson, big Rolodex. Obviously, like I said, Ben Johnson's a chef, but he's a sous chef.
When you look at Press Taylor specifically coming from situations where he wasn't as successful, how much could this turn into a whole Ben Johnson rehab center for offensive minds where they come here, spend a year here, and go on? I mean, if the Bears offense does what we think they're going to do, that seems to be what could be happening here in Chicago.
Well, you see Declan Doyle, how many plays did he call last year?
None.
0. Right? And he goes and gets a huge job, and he's coaching Lamar Jackson right now. So I think you see the tree, the LaFleur, the McVay, everybody coming from Ben Johnson starting his own tree. Johnny Appleseed, he's planting his own stuff. And you're going to see the offensive coaches that come out of this system keep getting good jobs because the people, they see the creativity that Ben has, how he's able to attack these weaknesses. You got a team that's not good at 13 personnel. You want to get the base package on the field. Guess what? We got 3 tight ends now. You want to stay in 11. You want to keep them in nickel. You don't like their nickel package. You got enough wide receivers to make that happen. A guy that just knows how to attack the weaknesses of defenses, creativity with the play calling, and just the situational football. I mean, people talk about Ben Johnson. They talk about him like he's just this passing wizard. Let's go back just 3 years in Detroit. 11th best rushing team in the league, yards per game. 6th best rushing team, yard per game. 4th best rushing team, yard per game. And then with the Bears, number 1. So that's what Ben Johnson brings. He brings a hard-nosed style of football, or number 3, with the Bears. But I think he loves to run the football. That's what you're looking for, but also has a creativity in the pass game.
Let's also listen to, because I think he told a lot of truths about the offense here, specifically what the Bears need out of center. Like, Clay, I don't know how many times I've asked the question, whose job is it to call protection? Whose job is it to slide protection? Well, listen to what Press Taylor ends up telling us when he's talking about the responsibility of centers and how they have to transition into the NFL.
I think like any of these guys, especially interior linemen, every single week, there's somebody across from you that was probably some sort of college All-American, or maybe he's a 12-year vet in the NFL. And so they all present their different challenges. Whether you're playing a 320-pound nose, or you're playing a 300-pound nose that's super quick, or they're putting, typically a defensive end inside in certain pass rush situations. That's probably not as much as you see in the college game. And then for us, our center really kind of drives the system. He's making all the IDs. The quarterback will reaffirm them a lot of time. He's making the calls. I mean, everybody's kind of waiting on the identification process from the center. I'm not sure if that happens in all the college systems. It definitely didn't used to, as there was a lot more up-tempo systems in college. And now, I don't really necessarily know how teams have changed with the quarterback communicator being in the huddle a little bit more, if the centers are taking on more in college. But I think that's one element that I think is a little bit different from college to the pros.
I think if their center wasn't an Iowa guy who's had the experience that he's had, we'd have a different conversation. But it feels to me like a rookie could be a day one starter for Ben Johnson and Press Taylor this season, correct?
If that rookie's 25 years old, the Remington Award winner, extremely smart, and a guy that started 51 games in the Big Ten, I think that's very possible. A second-round draft pick. People talk about the Bears taking a center in the second round. That tells you why. The value scale for each position on each team varies. There's not one scale of value out there that just matches the whole league. This is the value for each position. No, the Bears place more on centers. That's why it's so valuable. That's why you go out and get the best center in the class. I've never been on a team to where a center makes the mic ID calls, where the center is switching protections. Never seen it. I played 9 years, how many different teams? I had a bunch of frequent flyer miles. I started traveling around the world to play for different teams, Marshall. Never seen it before. So that's important. If your center's making the mic ID, making the point, sliding the protections in these crazy looks when they're doing the double mug, the amoeba style defenses, you need a very intelligent center, and the value for that goes way up.
That's why I thought it was so wild that was just uttered as part of this answer. I don't think he's giving away, state secrets here, but it's one of the biggest questions I have on any offense. Whose job is it to call what? Whose job is it to make sure that the free rusher off the edge is picked up? And how many times have we heard it be quarterback? I think this answer, Clay, helps us understand how truly catastrophic Drew Dahlman's retirement was to the process and the plan of this team. Think about how many resources they devoted to center immediately.
Yeah, it makes sense. And you could see the center making ID calls. I thought it was a blend maybe of the quarterback and the center, because obviously you see Caleb doing some IDs, and he's got the ability to switch protection to move it still. So it's not like Caleb's just back there saying ready, set, go. No, he's still got some pre-snap stuff there, but it takes a relationship. It takes time to develop. When your center is a guy making the mic ID calls, I can't tell you how important that is. No protection is ever going to be right if you miss the right mic ID. You got to know exactly what defense. Is it base? Is it nickel? Who are we miking? You go into a game plan, you might have the actual Sam linebacker. You might have a safety when he comes in the box. Okay, when the safety comes on, we're going to mic him. It's high level stuff, and it takes a lot of work. I was always glad, I never had to do that. So basically for everybody else on the team, you make it simple. But finding that mic ID, when you mic ID somebody, then for me as a tight end, I'd go, okay, I got end and buck, which is basically the defensive end and the Sam. And then if the safety comes in, there's a little bit of scan involvement there if the safety's blitzing the outside, but it's simplified for everybody else. But for that center, finding the correct ID to make sure the protection, you got everybody picked up, it's huge.
So chances that he is starting in year one and or starting early in year one?
This guy's different. Logan Jones is different. Just listening to him talk, and obviously he's on field. They're doing bag work over there with Dan Roshar. I can't give you any takeaways. I know we're going to talk about a couple of the guys real quick, that what I saw from the rookie camp, but Logan Jones' maturity, the way he carries himself. This guy's married. He's 25. He's older than Caleb Williams. This isn't a typical rookie coming in the NFL. Yes, he doesn't have the experience, but this guy's all football all the time. One of the things I thought was very interesting, he's talking about Coach Fairnix in the offense they ran at Iowa. He goes, the same thing. We ran a lot of outside zone, ran off the football. Here they call it wide zone. He goes, we even teach the technique the same. They're running the same exact stuff they ran in Iowa. So that's something that is big for him. If you're coming from a spread offense, you're doing the shotgun to the quarterback. No, this guy was under center running a pro style offense, and that is huge. It's not going to be his first rodeo coming in, actually snapping the ball to the quarterback and having to protect and having to go run block. So I think he's going to be extremely good. Everything I saw on tape, everything I heard from him on the podium there at Halas Hall, this kid's very impressive.
Okay, so who did stand out to you, Clay, when it came to people you saw at Halas Hall?
This is tough because the trenches, obviously, they're not doing anything. Back in the day, when we'd have these rookie camps, you're basically playing football with no pads. I know I sound like a grandpa telling war stories back in my day.
You are a grandpa. You're a little up there.
Okay, I'm up there. But still, I mean, it's crazy how hard it has to be for a veteran or one of these trial guys to make a team because you're only running a couple periods of 7-on-7. But within that, the routes in the air, the 7-on-7, the first guy I have to talk about is Xavon Thomas. I didn't know what to expect. Does his speed show up on the field is the first thing I want to see. It does. Does he have that burst, that explosiveness? Oh, yeah. Can he get in and out of breaks? Yes. He transitions well. The thing I was most impressed with was his ball skills. Is this guy a natural catcher? It's something you can see very clearly, very early. Does this guy fight the ball? Is he confident in plucking the ball with his hands? He is. And a lot of times, most of the speed guys don't do that. These speed guys are like, guys, it's tough to get the ball in their hands, but when you get the ball in their hands, they can go. He transitions well from catch to run extremely quick. So this is a guy that I think is not only going to have the special teams role, he's going to have an offensive role. The way he can transition, you can throw him the bubble screens. He's got time he spent in the backfield. He said he's been doing running back since he was playing in 4th, 5th grade. He was kick returning since 4th, 5th grade. Also, I know we got Halas Jones trauma here, but watching him catch punts and kickoffs, like this guy, smooth, fluid, didn't drop a punt, didn't drop a kickoff. Everything was clean. So I think he'll be good.
So he could get snaps at running back?
Yeah, he's going to get snaps at running backs. He can get in around. He's going to get motioned in and out. And if he can pick up the offense, which I think I'm very impressed with him on the podium too. Humble kid, knows he's got a lot to learn. A lot of these guys come in and say, I can't wait to get out there. I'm going to show them what I got. These guys, eyes, ears open, learning, trying to figure out, show that they can learn the system and get on the field. And I think he's got the right mindset and the right skill set to be a guy that can actually make a difference and get on the field.
He also said that Richard Hightower was his dog. Did you hear that too? He's like, HT's my dog. He called somebody a hooper. I forget who that was.
I don't remember who that was. That was funny though.
Yeah, he had an entertaining
definitely wasn't
press
Clay Harper.
availability.
Didn't call him a hooper because he's not.
Okay, Marshall, you know I can hoop, man.
Was that a prerequisite? If you're over 6 feet tall at a small school, are you on the basketball team just automatically?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, Dwight, Illinois, come on. I was a 3 sports all-state, basketball, football, track. Obviously, I'm a Class A school. If anybody even heard of Dwight before, we got 3,000 people total in town. So, yeah, obviously, we're going to be good at sports down there. And I was a Jackie Robinson at Dwight, too, man. I was wearing the 42 out there, basically. I mean, it's a bunch of farmers now.
Wait, what track were you running?
I was a high jump, long jumper. My claim to fame, 8th grade, 2nd place in state, high jump.
Dang.
8th grade, Marshall.
8th grade middle school?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I want to ask you guys, how do you feel about the Bears? How do you feel about the Bears receiver room?
I'm good with it. I think they're where they need to be. I think they have their top guys. They have their not mid guys, but the utility guys, if you will. But I also think because of the way tight end works in Ben Johnson's offense, they don't need as many guys. But I think they have enough guys.
Yeah, Scotty Miller was the guy, the veteran tryout guy that they signed.
Barrington guy.
I thought he looked good, man. Caught the ball smooth, ran well. I think he's a guy that could, add some competition to that room.
We still don't know in our hearts, like we're not overly confident who WR1 is.
I think that's
Should
simple.
be Rome.
No, it's Luther Burden.
See, that's it.
Listen to this, guys.
I'm with you on the Luther Burden.
All right, I brought some numbers here. From week 10 on, Luther Burden had 34 catches for 481 yards, right? His last 5 games, 25 catches, 357 yards, and a touchdown, 25 catches on 30 targets. I know it's 5 games, small sample. If you project that out for a season, that's over 1,200 yards, over 85 catches, and only 102 targets. Like, this guy was extremely efficient. He ended the year on such a trajectory that I think he's going to be the wide receiver one. Then you look at Rome. Like, looking back at the film, he wasn't that efficient. And when I look at some of these numbers, it shows up. Rome Odunze had the worst pass rating when targeted of all the Bears receiver. Colson Loveland's pass rating when targeted, 103. Luther Burden, 110. DJ had a 110. Rome Odunze, 81.
If he doesn't have a good year this year, the B word will be started to be used to describe him if he doesn't have a good year.
I don't think he's shown he can play in the NFL, but he hasn't shown that he's a top 10 pick.
Well, that's the point.
Yeah.
You used a top 10 pick on him.
He wasn't healthy either. I mean, I know that he wasn't healthy. It's not like he wasn't healthy all season.
And that
but
means
he wasn't
something.
healthy.
And even if it is his foot, I will say, I remember going through an OTAs with the Eagles and I had a heel bruise. Sounds soft, but every time you take a step, you feel this pain in your foot. And I remember I couldn't catch a cold that offseason, that OTAs. I'm like, what is going on here? And just when I got through OTAs and got healthy for training camp, I come back to catching everything. I think back in my head. I go, when you're focusing on one part of your body hurting and how it's going to affect this route and that route, you kind of lose a little bit of concentration as much as you don't think you do. You know, it's like, I'm going to play through this. I'm going to be fine. And I think that was something that could have hampered Rome because we saw how he started the season versus how he finished it.
Yeah.
He wasn't healthy. And even if it wasn't, something that was affecting him as far as how he runs, when you are still feeling pain, it does take away from your concentration. And we saw he did miss some passes that he usually catches.
See, but your point about the receiver room is well taken. Also, thanks, Tyler. It was Dylan Thieneman who he was referring to Xavon Thomas as a hooper, which I loved because I think he just meant he can ball.
All I got is I used to drive a hoopty. That's all I got.
You know who else could ball? Sam Roush. Obviously, we're getting ahead of ourselves here, but I was really excited about what I saw from Sam Roush. Obviously, you didn't see him play a ton of football, but just his burst, his body, he's big, bulky. Like this guy's going to be a weapon this year. He caught a couple of nice passes in the seams. He sprints on his routes. He's not one of these guys who are kind of tempoing his routes. He sprints. He can get in and out of breaks. He's way more explosive than you would think a big tight end of his size would be. That 38.5-inch vertical, that 10.5 broad jump shows up. And I think he's a guy that 13 personnel is going to be deadly. I think the Bears are going to they're going to have the best 3 tight ends in the league.
If they go 14 personnel or 04 personnel, I'm pretty sure
Hayden
that's
Large.
Clay Harbor's turn.
Oh, the Hayden Large kid that Ben said he called at the draft before the draft. He called Hayden Large to get him in the room. I think the Bears keep 4 tight ends.
I was laughing though because when they drafted Roush, you were like, Ben loves tight ends. Ben, give me a call. I'm like, just tell Ryan Poles you're available in the 3rd round. That's their wild card round.
No, absolutely, man. It's but you see where the trend is going with the tight ends, though. You see what the Rams were able to do with their 4 tight ends. They used 4, and they were the best scoring team in the entire NFL. Near the end of the season, you heard Press Taylor talk about it. He goes, our offense was trending to a multi-tight end offense. I think Hayden Large has a chance to make the team. I've been a 4th tight end, Marshall. To make the team as a 4th tight end, you got to play some fullback, you got to play some slot, you got to play some special teams, personal protector, run down on the kickoff, block on kickoff return. But I love the kid's story, and I'm interested in seeing him in training camp too.